I'm joined now by Peter Lee in Texas. He's an associate professor of East Asian politics as well as animal policy and law in China at the University of Houston downtown. Professor, thank you so much for joining our program today.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Well, first of all, China's revised law to protect wildlife went into effect this week. Can you explain how it's different from what was enacted before? How does it further those efforts?
You know, there are two national laws directly applied to the protection of wildlife. If we look at the wildlife also on the Tibetan Plateau, this is the Wildlife Protection Law revised in the last 2 years, taking effect on May the 1st. Now, this law has been strengthened in enforcement actions and in punishment on violations. If this law is to be enforced, and we expect the law to be enforced, strictly, it will have a great impact on the protection of wildlife in the country. And the second one is a latest development in China. China is developing a separate legal regime for targeted ecosystems. That's why a new law has been adopted called the Qinghai Tibet Plateau Ecological Protection Law, which is very complementary and very focused on protection and restoration of the ecosystem. And I think if both laws are implemented, strictly, I expect that China's wildlife, situation is going to change, and also has great global impact because, the Tibet Plateau is the origin of 3 major river systems: the Yangtze River, the Yellow River, and the Ganges, impacting the life of 1.5 billion people in China, Southeast Asia, and South Asia.
Professor, what kind of wildlife are we talking about that is most at risk in China, and what kind of threats do they face, especially in the face of climate change right now?
A lot of reasons are impacting the wildlife in China. We have in the last 4 decades, illegal smuggling, illegal hunting. Now the animals in these high plateaus are also are in great risk because of climate change, and also increased human activity. If we look at Asiatic elephants, for example, in southwest China, because of fragmentation of the habitat and the lack of connectivity of the different habitats, so these animals are in particular danger. And of course, China has a huge issue of illegal wildlife trade to provide the exotic food market. So a lot of animals, land animals and also aquatic animals are in great danger.
Professor, we just have 1 minute left, so I might ask you to keep your answer fairly short. But what about this issue of biodiversity? What is China doing to promote biodiversity in the country?
China has done, quite a lot in the last few years. For example, China imposed a 10-year fishing ban on the Yangtze River to restore and protect aquatic resource species on the Yangtze River. Now, China has also adopted the Yellow River Protection Law, which is going to take effect, very soon. And if a similar fishing ban is going to be imposed on the Yellow River. And also very important to understand that China has massive reforestation efforts in the last decade. I use a great piece of land, reforested, and that enhance the ecological system in different parts of the country.
Important measures for a very important cause. Associate Professor Peter Lee, thank you so much for breaking it all down for us.